I've been around the world. I've been blessed to be able to see the world, and there's certainly places I want to go to that I haven't been to, but I've been to, places I never dreamed I would go, and I've been blessed just to eat their food and listen to their music and sit in their homes, and that's been an amazing experience for me personally. The one thing that I've seen a connective tissue around the world wherever I go is hip hop.
Hip hop started back in, the 70s and the 80s with the DJs and the rappers and the parties, and it just kind of evolved from there.
Hip hop started as an act of Asian peace. When hip hop began in the South Bronx, it was because too many neighborhoods were clashing with each other and they needed some form of unity that would stop the violence. And so people would come together and they would break battle or battle through breakdancing and graffiti and MCing on the mic and even DJing. And even though it was competitive in nature, it stopped a lot of the physical violence that was happening, and it allowed people to express themselves in a way that didn't necessarily involve violence.
Any culture has practices, it has its own institutions, values, and beliefs. And hip hop has all of those things, right? It has its own practices, and one of the things that I would say defines it is the broad definition that it is a form of expression that counters the mainstream culture. Okay, of course there are other things that do that, but in hip hop culture, the message is always to freely express oneself and to bring to light or critically analyze what's going on in this world around us.
Hip hop started as a culture of peace through power. A powerful way to fight for peace and or to speak out for peace. And it spread throughout the world, and that's what spread.
Africa Bambaataa always taught us that it was, unity first and foremost. You know what I mean? Peace, unity, and having fun.
With hip hop music, it's all about, the soundtrack and it's the expression of a people. Whereas the culture is graffiti, it's dance, it's the music, it's, people in impoverished neighborhoods.
It's the way people dress, it's the way people talk to each other, it's the way people view themselves in the outside world.
Early scholars of hip hop would tell you that it was born at a time when we were deindustrializing. And young people, not only were young people hit by deindustrialization, they didn't have places to go for summer jobs, and I lived through this, but I didn't experience it as much personally as other people have. Mm-hmm. They were taking the arts out of schools. Young people needed places to express themselves artistically, mm-hmm. right, and to be heard.
It's 30 years strong, but it's still growing. It could go anywhere. Look where it's been and where it's going. It's breaking all type of stereotypes, and it's not only a city inner city thing now, it's worldwide.
The message, if you go to Germany, France, you listen to the MCs, it's about the people. You go to Albania, I've been to Albania, performed in Albania, and Jetta Scone is a dope Albanian group, and they rap about politics, you know what I'm saying? They got like West Coast sound, kind of like, it's like Dre and Q, you know what I'm saying, produced their album, and but they're rapping straight up about politics, and they got the mayor representing on one of their tracks, Tirana is like the capital city. They painted all the buildings different colors, like bright colors, like you would, like as if the whole city was a 5 Points museum, to spread, to get people to stop being so corrupt.
In Bulgaria, graffiti was like really popular that days, but it was like absolutely out of the thing because it was dangerous to do it. It was like a war situation in there, and how like after that you could see in Bulgaria like different kind of graffitis expressing like hate to other people, or like not hate, but like not really political, because it's like against it's dangerous. I never did nothing political, but it was just about peace.
The State Department now sends music groups to places like Syria, a country on the list of state sponsors of terrorism. But where jazz was the coolest sound of the 1950s, the young target audience in Syria today calls for a totally different kind of music.
My first show home in the wild. My queen's at the front of the crowd. It's good to see you, mama.
Meet Chen Lo and the Liberation Family, a hip-hop band from Brooklyn, New York. Why would the State Department pay to send a hip-hop band overseas? Hip-hop is America. I mean, and so is jazz, and so is every other form of music with American roots that tell a story. When they told you that you were going to Syria, what'd you think?
Didn't know what to think, at first.
Instead of a big concert hall, Chen Lo's venue was a converted restaurant in Damascus's old city, packed with curious kids. But from the opening note, it was clear that the Syrian teens liked what they heard. Some kids said the experience changed their minds about Americans.
But they think that Americans look superior from us. You know what I mean?
That Americans look down on you.
Yeah.
And these guys showed you something different?
Yeah. They were very down to earth. Nothing like that anyone ever says about Americans.
Do you feel like you connected with those people, like at least in that sense, for that moment, you made a difference?
No question. Definitely. The impact was felt, I think, in both ways. I know I was affected.
I know it sounds like it's very basic, but sometimes you've got to get back to basics. And we have to rebuild, the image of our country, who we are as a people. We are the most incredibly diverse, successful, freedom-loving, people in the history of the world, and I want everybody to understand that.
I mean, we got friends of ours that are ambassadors and get paid to fly around the world to do what they do. You know what I'm saying? And all of my people, including myself, are Freestyle Mondays fam. Even though we're not labeled as ambassadors, like we're bringing our music that is like healthy, go get 'em, head nodding music all around the world. So we're representing what we are here to everybody else. I tour Europe every 3.5 months, personally, and then collectively as Freestyle Mondays unit, we've started a Freestyle Mondays in Prague, Czech Republic. There's also a Freestyle Mondays in Strasbourg, France. You know what I'm saying? And more coming soon. And more coming soon. I'm trying to get the Germany thing going. I'm trying to get the Hungary thing going. Peace to my people in Barcelona. I can't get a Barcelona one going because they already have a crazy Monday night party. You know what I'm saying? Peace to my man Aurelio at Jamboree every Monday night. Woo! It's a good jam.
When I teach hip hop. When I teach writing, I teach it through a hip hop framework. When I go overseas, I perform. I've performed in Paris. I've performed in Ethiopia. So I've spread it. I want to spread it more, of course. But yeah, definitely that's what I do. Whenever I get a chance to perform here, domestically or internationally, I do it. And if I can throw a workshop on there, I do it as well. My music itself is about teaching.
I use it in classes at the college level to explore social justice and social justice in the United States context primarily. And when we critically analyze the lyrics of a rap artist, we are strengthening our ability to one, just not blindly walk by and see the ravages of social injustice in our world, but to see and to hear it.
Mi nombre es Jairo Ulloa, vengo de Cali, Colombia, y al igual que todos ustedes, estoy en total desacuerdo, en contra de este abuso histórico que se ha cometido contra Mumia.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jairo Ulloa from Cali, Colombia. He's a member of the hip hop resistance group Zona Marginal, and he just wanted to express his solidarity with this movement against the injustices of the state against Mumia Abu-Jamal.
Como saben, en Colombia hay un conflicto armado, conflicto histórico. Tenemos un tema de represión policial igual también histórico y hay una situación de muchos prisioneros políticos en nuestro país.
In Colombia also we suffer a long history of armed conflict, as much with the police and the military, and we are also mobilizing against this armed conflict in Colombia.
Cuando gritamos libertad para Mumia, estamos diciendo que otro mundo es posible.
And that is why we are demanding freedom for Mumia, and another world is possible. That's right.
Libertad para Mumia.
Freedom for Mumia.
Libertad para Mumia.
Rap music and hip hop is a mirror, is a reflection of our society. They're the poets. They shine the spotlights on things that aren't right. And sometimes things that aren't right is commercialism. Sometimes things that aren't right is how much we love money. Sometimes things that aren't right is how much we love materialistic things. Sometimes the shining spotlight is sometimes on our own injustices of ourselves. So when I see this criticism of rap music, oh, it's all about money. Well, America's all about money.
Now, as far as like the commercial stuff, I ain't mad at anybody. Everybody has their lane. That doesn't affect me at all. Now, is it dumbed down? Yeah, of course it is. People aren't gonna ingest it. You know what I'm saying? It's baby food. It has to be. It has to be. You know, am I mad at that? Nah. You know, some of the beats are crazy.
Babies gotta eat food.
Babies gotta eat. And the stuff that we, the stuff that a lot of underground heads make is not easily digested per se by the large amount of by the masses. It's not easily digested.
If you're taught properly and you listen to the music and you listen and you listen and you listen, then you know it's about peace, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think the ones who are actively listening and learning pass on the proper message.
Since we started, it's been about peace and unity and creative output and getting your name out there.
Hip hop was created as a form of unity amongst African Americans or colored people or a group that's oppressed.
I was really enamored by the poetry coming out of these places that was so foreign to me, and they let us in, right? As a white kid growing up in New York, it was Black America letting us into these realities that we didn't know about. We didn't our parents just didn't understand was our record. It's a record that we embraced, you know. Fight for the Right to Party, you know, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Like, these were records that we loved. Peter Piper, It's Tricky. These were still like, so not they were safe for us. But you know, once we started hearing Life's a Bitch and Then You Die, New York State of Mind, and you know, and started hearing that shit, and it was like, damn, who are these people? Where do they live? I want to go there, but we never went there.
I don't think if we did not have this vehicle, that people who don't live in those circumstances would ever have a way to know about it. We're not encouraged to really authentically know each other across social class. All we do is learn what we do learn is how to emulate certain social classes, right?
I think that the culture has to push, the hip hop culture has to push the racial boundaries. I think that to me is what will be our greatest gift to this planet, is that we'll be able to push, where hip hop began as sort of a voyeuristic connection between a culture that was deeply rooted in struggle and a culture that didn't really know struggle. And white America was peering into this black perspective that we knew nothing about. 30 years later, we've gotten much further, where if you're white and you want to discuss your struggles or your own, even party Macklemore, even your party music, right? We're gonna respect you. We're gonna welcome you into the family.
Old school hip hop had a lot of substance. It wasn't just all fluff. It was actually some substance there, and there were a lot of messages that needed to be transpired, and they were transpired through different songs, videos, movements, etc.
I think it still does that, but at the same time, I think it's shifting, or it has shifted, in a way where the oppressed people or people of color are against each other, like they're fighting each other.
It's silly. It's silly for them to brand it hip hop because it's not. It's rap. It's how these cats are making a living now, and it's not hip hop. I mean, you're not living it. You're just making a living off of it.
Oh, when I talk about hip hop right now, I talk about two types of hip hop. You know, obviously we have the mainstream hip hop and like the real hip hop. You know, I'm not too cool with the mainstream hip hop because I think that's turning into pop. You know, it's no longer. I don't think it's no longer hip hop.
I think the underground scene is incredible as far as what's out commercially, but I think that commercial music has always been.
So what we know as rap music as just one element of hip hop, I would say through that medium and videos and what we hear on the radio is not entirely accurate. I think that's a representation of commercialized hip hop, what record producers and TV producers find that they want to portray in the media, but that's not all of hip hop.
We got a lot of talented rappers and artists out here, and it's like you could really talk about something. You really have a medium. People are watching you, Lil Wayne. Why are you talking about Emmett Till the way you are? You know what I mean? So it's just like, I dig what you're doing. You know, you got to make your money and everything, but it's not helping anyone but you in your pocket right now.
More money nowadays. There's more money to be had, so people are rapping about it more, you know.
Peace, love, and unity is not necessarily promoted as strongly as it was when hip-hop first started. Now it's more so there's a word for it. They call it, it's not boasting, it's a braggadocious. Now it's more so the braggadocio type of vibe where it's about how much money you have, how many cars you drive, and how many women you can sleep with on any given night. That's what basically I feel like mainstream society, hip-hop-wise, is focused on. And before, when it started, it was basically about peace, love, unity, bringing people together who necessarily wouldn't come together.
With hip hop, you get a lot of mixed messages. In my opinion, the music is supposed to be about the expression, but nowadays it's kind of changed into just a money maker. You know, I'm just gonna glorify and talk about what I have over what you have.
If you're in it to be a vampire and just suck the blood out of the culture, it's not gonna work for you, man. You gotta be from the streets to, you know, deal with the streets. And hip hop is not, it's not a commodity. It's who you are. It's a culture. So it's how you live it. It's not a brand. It's not what you hear on the radio. It's not what you spit out your mouth. It's how you live it.
I felt like originally it was about the music and like the expression part I was talking about. I think that's a beautiful thing, but I think that we see on TV and, you know, like a lot of these newer songs and what people are doing, and we're calling that this hip hop culture, and I just feel like it's inaccurate. It's a little saddening, actually. Not that these new forms of expression are wrong or bad, but I just feel like they're not, I guess, productive ways. I don't want to slander them or bash what they want to do or how they feel they should express themselves. My problem with it is the young girls and young boys who feel like this is what I should be doing and this is how I should express myself. And we're not teaching that, you know, you should find your own way to express yourself.
What is viewed or what is allowed to go through in popular media is not always the positive image of hip hop.
I think that hip hop has always had a complicated relationship with the media because the media was controlled by white people, and white people didn't understand. Many of them still don't understand hip hop. So I think that the relationship with the media has been complicated, but now we do own some of the media. So now we are responsible also as media, you know, owners of how we portray ourselves.
For hip hop to be hip hop, you gotta come back to the streets and let the streets do it. Not these people pushing a check behind you and say, yeah, go out there and make a fool out of yourself. Come out in leotards and fucking wear, you know, stupid shit on your head and stupid shit on your, you know, on your eyes. That's not hip hop, you know. My man over here knows what hip hop is. That's hip hop, you know what I mean? My man on the gate, that's hip hop, man.
the message has changed from the 70s to the 80s to 90s, depending on where, where the country's at, where our mindsets are at. And hip hop has gone through a huge evolution. It's definitely it's in party mode right now, you know. Which again,
sometimes we gotta party.
Sometimes you gotta party.
I see it coming back to a revolutionary focal point. You know, it's got to. It's just the times at hand.
I knew about that certain shooting incident in Toronto, and I always loved Drake. You know I love him for his writing and how he get out and how he can deliver. You know, he delivers great party records, but I wanted him to say something on this record, and I feel like he could really say something and address some things that need to be said and take the party out of it for a minute, because we both known for making party records. You think of Drake and Snoop, oh, this gonna be a party jam. Yeah. But it's like, nah, no guns allowed. This is how you keep the party rocking all night. Leave the guns out.
For the people that just look at the title, don't look at the backstory, they're gonna criticize you for that, because they're gonna say, what's he talking about? He's rapped about guns and stuff his whole life. What's your message to them?
Guns kill. Guns are good and bad. Good when they're in the right hands, bad when they're in the wrong hands. And when they're in the wrong hands, too many innocent people suffer. And too many kids and too many people whose lives are cut short for no reason. And to me, when I go to countries like Amsterdam, where I ain't never seen nobody with a gun, not even the police officers, and I very seldom hear about vicious crimes over there involving guns or murder.
So I feel like if we were making music like that, and people can take from it. And I feel like as far as conflict resolution, we could be writing songs about resolving conflicts in other ways than shooting each other over frivolous things. I'm against that completely.
There's a lot of people out there making exactly that type of music, and I think there's other people that are making music about slapping booties and killing babies, and there's something out there for everyone.
There's something out there for everyone. I mean, yeah, there's peace, love, and happiness, and there's absolute killer brother destruction. You know what I'm saying?
The way it's going, I think, history always repeats itself. So, you see music go through the whole, everyone wants to be a gangster, everyone wants to be hood, you talk about the drugs and the parties and all that stuff, and then people get tired of listening to it. And then music changes to an expression, what I like to listen to, stories, and people, standing on top of the pickets and telling, just saying how they feel and where they're coming from. So I think as long as hip hop stays going in that direction, as long as it stays an expression, as long as it's what these artists are feeling and coming from the heart, then I believe it's always going to be successful. It's always going to be this giant that influences us as a people.
That all depends on who's elected president in the next 4 years, the next 8 years.
Yeah, that's actually
whether a tsunami comes and destroys a city. Whether I think it just depends.
Man, you know what? That's exact because hip hop is what's happening everywhere at this point. It's what's happening worldwide. So people are always going to be looking for a voice to say what's going on in their community, a voice to say what's going on in the government politically, a voice to say what's going on directly in their lives. So where hip hop is headed next is just like Mary said, whatever happens next, you'll end up hearing about.
Well, I want to see hip hop going in the future. I want to see hip hop being more nurturing towards the youth, because if these young men and women are following these rappers, they need to be more responsible for their acts and how they portray themselves in the image that they show, because little do they know they have armies following them, and if you have youth following you and you don't even know what you're doing yourself, or you're portraying this negative image, that's where they're going to grow up and they're going to think that's okay.
But do I think that the hip hop generation is less racist than their parents? Certainly. And they're less homophobic than their parents? Absolutely. And do I think they're less misogynistic than their parents? Of course they are. So if people say, oh, well, hip hop is degrading to women, America is degrading to women. 1 in 4 women get raped. You think it's because of hip hop? We have domestic violence issues in this country. You think that's because of hip hop? Men have been beating women for a long time before, Jay-Z made a record. Before Biggie Smalls made a record. And that's a society issue that we have to deal with and not put a blame on the mirror. Don't crack the mirror because you're ugly. Figure out how to make yourself more beautiful, and then thank the mirror for showing your ugliness. So I will defend hip hop to the day I die, the good, the bad, and the ugly. As much as, just like I'll defend our country to the day I die, because I believe that we have greatness ahead of us. And we certainly have some greatness during our own times. But we also have some ugliness that sometimes it's shameful to talk about, but it's real. Do I like when I hear a man call a woman the B word in a rap record? No, I hate that shit. I hate it. But do I like it when I walk on the street and I hear guys whistling and hollering at girls? No, I hate that shit too. And I don't see any difference between the guys on the sidewalk whistling at some girl and making her feel uncomfortable and a rapper calling women, the B word. There's no difference to me. I want to fight both of it. But I don't want to blame one more than the other. They're both wrong. And we got to elevate ourselves as a society, as a consciousness of our nation, and not just the consciousness of a rapper, of a Chief Keef, and say, well, he's the problem. Chief Keef is a 17-year-old young man from Chicago, and Chicago got 508 homicides last year. He didn't commit one of them.
I know a lot of people complain about it in different, from even in the underground cats complain about it. Commercial cats complain about it. There's always something to complain about somewhere. I think hip hop is beautiful to me because hip hop right now keeps my lights on and has me weighing 190 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Instead of a 102 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to do any other stuff that I don't want to do to make it happen.
All the music that's being promoted is not always what that artist represents, but listening to the culture, listening to the music, it allows you to kind of get a sense of where the artist is coming from and get a general idea of where people are coming from in these situations. So being able to look at people from all walks of life and understand where they're coming from, it automatically has to affect how you interact with these people on a regular basis.
I think the current state of hip hop is it's at a point where it can grow immensely. It's already grown immensely.
Jay-Z's going on tour this summer with Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake's first big record after NSYNC into like the hip hop scene was the Black Eyed Peas. That was his first big record, Where's the Love? That was a pop record. Now he's going to tour with the king of rap, Jay-Z. Stadium tour, football stadiums, baseball stadiums. Not playing Madison Square Garden, playing Yankee Stadium. Jay-Z played with Coldplay at Barclays for New Year's. It's the same fan. The Coldplay fan's the Jay-Z fan. 30 years ago, you couldn't look me in the eyes and say let's see who the king of rap was at that. You can't say that the Biggie Smalls fan was a U2 fan.
I don't see anything that we've done in the past really work, okay? And so, or have some everlasting change. And what I mean by that is that let's just take racism. This is a small thing to talk about, right? Our answer in our schools, our major social institutions, in schools, in media, in our religious institutions, it's been pretty much to silence it, okay? And we haven't come much further than we were 50 years ago in terms of our race relations. Sure, there's interracial mixing and marriage and so forth, but we had that when Africans landed here. Okay, we had that 400 or 500 years ago. Okay, it just became outlawed at a certain point for economic reasons. So that's not the signal, right, of authentic relationship building, but it's when I look at a person of a different race and they look at me and we see a human being versus a long laundry list of stereotypes, or that we don't see each other as the exception to that long list of stereotypes.
That's what excites me. That's why I wake up every single day to jump out of bed. So where post-racial to me doesn't mean I don't see that you're black and you don't see that I'm white. No, recognize that I'm white and recognize that you're black. Right? Respect that I'm white, respect that you're black, cool. Post-racial to me means that if you're still struggling and there's an injustice against you, it's an injustice against me. When we get to that level of consciousness, then we're post-racial. When we recognize that we are because of our relationships, because of who we are as a people. When we get to, and that's what hip hop to me has done, at least pushed us in that direction, where There wouldn't be a black president if it wasn't for hip hop. There wouldn't be a Latina Supreme Court justice if it wasn't for hip hop. There wouldn't be, at this point, a space for gay couples to love each other if it wasn't for hip hop. Even though some in hip hop have not felt comfortable going there, most of us saying, you gay, you love each other, who cares? I don't care what you do. If you love each other, get married. I love who I love, and I can get married if you can't get, there wouldn't be an immigration movement in this country if it wasn't for hip hop to say, Latinos are, if you documented or undocumented, it doesn't matter to me, I still love you. You're a human being. Illegal? What's illegal? What's an illegal person? What does that even mean to us? They don't understand that. You're not illegal. There's no such thing as an illegal person. You may be undocumented, but who cares? We don't want to compete with China and Russia and India. We want to be friends with China and Russia and India. We want to hang out with the Chinese and the Russians and the Indians. We want to kick it and party with the Chinese and Russians and Indians. We don't want to compete and destroy them and put them down. I got no interest in that. That's hip hop.